Rajah.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, we are in the midst of a global oil shock that is not of our making. It is having wide-reaching impacts right through our economy. And it's perhaps hurting the people greatest, those living in regional communities and our industries, particularly mining, agriculture and our logistics companies. We have adopted a multifaceted response, which is targeting supply, distribution and, of course, today announced through National Cabinet, price. I'll just go to price first, because price is perhaps what most Australian motorists and industries are most sensitive to. And today, through National Cabinet, the Prime Minister has announced that we will be halving the fuel excise. So 26 cents, roughly, will be coming off the price of fuel at the bowser. In addition to that, we are suspending for a period of 3 months, along with the fuel excise, the heavy vehicle road user charge. This will give, particularly our logistics and transport companies, the kind of breathing space that they need right now. It'll release some of the pressure in the system. In terms of supply, we released 20% of our fuel reserves which are now positioned right here in Australia, not in Louisiana and Texas, which is where they were under the previous government. And that fuel has been prioritised for regional Australia, for regional communities, for our primary producers, for our miners and for our big and small industries that are positioned in regional Australia. We also changed our fuel standards to ensure that we can supply a greater amount of diesel and petrol refined in Australia to the Australian domestic market. So we're not exporting any fuel, we are retaining it right here in Australia. We have doubled the penalties which can be imposed by the ACCC for price gouging from 50 to 100 million, and we've also appointed a fuel czar. Ms Anthea Harris has been appointed to help coordinate this national response. In addition to that, we have put aside $2 million for financial counselling to help particularly our farmers during this difficult time. The most important thing, though, is that the Prime Minister has emphasised from the very beginning that he wants a nationally consistent approach, because obviously our economy relies on fuel to move goods and services around. And we do not want to return to the days of COVID when there was a confused, fairly incoherent response throughout the country, and that just only exacerbated the pressure and stress on ordinary Australians and businesses. But this is not all we're doing. So these are some of the temporary measures that I've talked about, but we also need to look into the long term, into the future, as to how we make Australia more energy resilient. And that means that we need to, as much as possible, decouple ourselves from the crazy volatility of Middle Eastern oil. And to that end, we are pumping $1.1 billion into developing cleaner liquid fuels, low-carbon fuels, things like sustainable aviation fuel, synthetic fuels, and one more, biodiesel. And this will be developed through products that are grown right here in Australia by our farmers. So our farmers, actually, and our regions will be the beneficiaries. We will be using canola and sorghum and sugarcane, as well as tallow. These are waste products which can be then repurposed and redeveloped into low-carbon fuels. But that's not all we're doing. We're also, as of today, we've announced, along with previous announcements, $25 million from ARENA, which will be going towards developing heavy trucking electrification. That money is being put into Victoria, into 3 hubs. Now, just this morning, I had the privilege of seeing an electric prime mover roll into Parliament House, and it was parked outside the front. It would have been good if those interjecting had actually gone out and had a look at this thing. It did the journey from Sydney to Canberra on a $50 charge. Heavy vehicle electrification is not science fiction. It is a reality. It is something that we need to scale up in order to reduce our reliance on volatile international oil markets. And that is something that we in the Albanese government are committed to doing.